Hi my fans, I'm back. Today I will bring a little spooky atmosphere to everyone through a sensational horror film, The Cleaning Lady. It was shown in the US in 2018. In a dark room, there was a box filled with mice. A hand reached in to catch a mouse. Then put the mouse in the blender, and pressed the button. Then poured the puree into the bowl. Early in the morning, Alice put her head on Michael's leg. Told him about her nightmare last night. The two of them started planning a trip. The scene looked extremely happy. But while in good imagination, Michael took a shower and then left. In Alice's eyes, disappointment was evident. After Michael left, Alice went to a meeting. The whole group of people, sitting together sharing their feelings. It was Alice's turn. From her confidant words, they might know Michael was married. And Alice was his young girlfriend. She knew that Michael was not going to divorce. After thinking carefully, she was determined to end this wrong love. At home, she started not listening to Michael's phone. Just put the phone down. In the bathroom, strange noises were made. Alice gingerly stepped forward to check. She saw a girl with a large scar on her face. Her hand was holding a bunch of hair, which was hooked out of the sewer. Alice remembered where she met her. Her name was Shelley. She was the cleaning staff of the building. Shelley looked scared. She said to Alice that her house had a mouse hole in the corner. Alice really couldn't believe that there were mice in her house. Seeing Shelley honest, so Alice invited her to clean the toilet, for $100 a time. A 2-day week on Tuesday and Thursday. Alice was a cosmetologist. The next day, while she was at home preparing equipment to welcome her guests, the bell ringing suddenly outside the door. A giant gift box appeared before her eyes. Inside was a very beautiful suitcase. On the card, the sender's name was Michael. Alice happily accepted it. While she was applying makeup to customers, she didn't stop talking about romantic travels. But she suddenly forgot. Today was Tuesday. Shelley was on time. Because of being careless, she startled her guest. The displeasure in the guest's eyes revealed, then quickly left. After the guest left, Alice went to the bathroom. She was listening to music while bathing. Shelley was cleaning the house outside. Seeing jewels on Alice's dressing table, she admired and watching them. At the same time, she stealthily noticed Alice. Then Michael called. He asked her to travel as scheduled. He had made good arrangements at home. And silently booked tickets. At this point, Alice did not know what to do. Just had to accept temporarily. She called her friend for help, but it looked like her friend was busy. Seeing Shelley cleaning, Alice enthusiastically invited her to stay for dinner, so that she would no longer pay attention to Michael's business. Alice lived extremely luxurious. The meal had to have light candles, and fresh flowers. Look at herself. Shelley felt a little self-deprecating. But Alice was different from the others. She always treated Shelley well. While the two were talking, Michael knocked on the door, and said he wanted to talk to Alice. She didn't want to see him again, just pretended as if she was gone. After Michael disappointedly left, Alice lit a cigarette. Shelley may not like the smell of cigarettes. She quickly extinguished the cigarette. Confided to Shelley about her troubles. At first when they together, she never knew Michael was married. When she knew, she was deeply in love. She was trying to end it all. But she found out it was not so simple. Dinner was over. She invited Shelley to stay and watch the movie. But maybe because she was too tired, Alice accidentally fell asleep on the sofa. Shelley held out her hand to comfort Alice. But Shelley suddenly hesitated, and then pulled her hand back, prepared to leave. At this moment, Alice woke up. Afraid she would not be safe alone, Alice offered to drive her home. All the way, Shelley didn't stop, praising Alice as pretty as a Barbie doll. When Alice finished listening, she told Shelley. Thursday after Shelley finished cleaning, she would teach Shelley how to make up. This was like touching Shelley. She suddenly demanded to get off the car, and walked home by herself. Shelley sat on the sofa, looking at the beautiful necklace in her hand. Then put it on her neck. Then she went to the refrigerator. Held the pureed mouse box. Forced a person locked up behind bars to eat. On Thursday, Michael called again. Miserably begged to meet Alice. He said his family was not broken because of her. They hadn't divorced just because he waited for his son to go to college. But Alice was determined to end the relationship without hesitation. She immediately turned off the phone. Alice helped Shelley with her makeup. After she finished cleaning, she told Shelley about the days she started to put on makeup. Also wanted to give Shelley some cosmetics. Finished makeup, Alice also gave Shelley the dress, she just bought it. Shelley looked at herself in the mirror in dismay. Midnight, Shelley waited for Alice to fall asleep. She poured the anesthetic into the face towel to make Alice unconscious. Then, she smeared plastic on Alice's face. Shelley sat in front of the mirror. Put on Alice's plush earrings. She remembered her past. When she was a teenager, she had been carefully make up by her mother, and take care of her body to have sex with all kinds of men, making money for her mother. If she protested she would be beaten. Until one day, while receiving guests, she could not stand it, she bit the guest's finger. Shelley hid in the kitchen. Picked up the knife from the cutting board. Stabbed the man's feet a few times. He screamed painfully. And slapped Shelley once. Then he held a pot of boiling water on the stove, and poured it on her, burned all her face. Her mother locked her in the room. Until Shelley was determined to get out. She was bluntly refused. Her mother was even about to hold the scissors, and threatened to cut Shelley's tongue. She stabbed her mother's back. Then she used force to push her mother against the wall, to vent out of her resentment. Recalling everything, she removed the frozen plastic and makeup for that mask. When Alice woke up the next day, the doorbell rang. Shelley wanted to watch TV with her. Though she refused over and over again, Shelley kept persisting. Alice helplessly agreed to let Shelley in for tea. Sitting for not long, Alice was too tired. She told Shelley that she would go to bed for a while. She intended to invite Shelley to come back home. Shelley froze and said nothing, silently left. A few days later when she went to the gym, Shelley sneaked to Alice's house. Imitating Alice, she burned scented candles, drained the sink, turned on the music. She also wore a mask lying in the bath to enjoy. Alice just got out of the gym. Then she saw Michael standing outside waiting. She seemed to have been touched by his persistence. Two people kissed passionately. Then they went home, and proceed to the next step. Shelley was behind the wall. She witnessed everything. The next morning, Alice's friend called her to advise. She should not continue like that. If she had decided to end the relationship, then did not continue to communicate anyway. Alice was lost in a maze of love. Basically, she couldn't hear any advice. Just hung up the phone, a hand appeared. Reached out to cover her mouth. Who was in here except Shelley? After drugged Alice, she took out Alice's phone. Texted an appointment with Michael. For dinner, Michael used the excuse to go to work. He refused to go to see the color of the house with his wife. Although his wife was not suspicious. But she still quietly followed. Michael went to Alice then found was unlocked. The music was playing in the house. Michael went straight in. But he couldn't see Alice. Shelley sprayed in his eyes as he turned around. Then covered with an anesthetic cloth. Shelley used the plastic wrap for food. To tighten the two people, she put a knife in Alice's hand. Then called the two to wake up. She forced Alice to kill Michael. Alice swore not to kill him. Shelley took out the prepared etching solution. Poured it on Michael's feet over and over. Forced Alice kills him. In the end, she couldn't stand it. But poured the solution straight into Michael's mouth. Alice was not content to see Michael tormented. She had to fight very hard in her mind. Finally, she stabbed Michael's neck. Shelley took out a needle. Injected Alice with an unknown liquid. Then she stuffed Alice into a suitcase. Shelley drove Michael's car. Michael's wife was dying up and down. Because she found out her husband was cheating, the wife immediately chased all the way. They came to a remote area. The wife's car ran out of gas, her phone had no signal, she could only watch Michael's car, slowly went away. Came home, Shelley tied Alice in a dirty bath. Next, she went to the cell, carried a bowl of mouse blood. To force a person to eat it all. The small person lying deep in the cage, sitting on the ground hesitantly dared to step up. Shelley burst into angry. Dragged that person to the door, poured the bowl of rat blood over her mouth. This person was Shelley's mother. Then she carefully drove the old truck and left. Michael's wife was languishing. She was waiting for help on the deserted road. Luckily, she met a kind, bearded old man. He offered her a free barrel of oil, also reminded her to pay attention to safety. The wife said to thank him. Then continued looking for Michael's figure. Discovered his car in the yard. She carefully stepped in to examine. She called Michael. Alice was tied up, but she still made loud noises to call for help. Michael's wife ran over, although knowing that Alice was her husband's lover, but still saved her. As soon as they got out the door, they ran into Shelley. She took a shovel, beat Michael's wife, fell back, and beat her to death. She hid behind a pile of old tires, and dared not to speak. Shelley took out a needle, squeezed step by step. Outside, suddenly a sound. Alice took the opportunity to run out. She got the car key. In Michael's wife's full of blood shirt. But Alice just got in the car, Shelley chased. She smashed the car window. Then the needle was inserted into Alice's neck. Alice fainted again. When Alice woke up, she had been carefully dressed up, the surrounding space was clean and tidy. Alice wore the dress she gave Shelley. She wanted to run away, but was held back by iron chains. Shelley was silently standing outside, looking at her. Like watching the Barbie doll from the window. The whole story is very simple, not too many horrors and gore scenes. But it makes our spine cold. Especially when Shelley mimicked Alice's face. Then when Alice was not at home. She lay in the bath, imitated Alice's life. The film though Shelley's experience, going into some social issues. Since childhood, Shelley had lived in family violence, extremely pressured. What she had to go through, was of course pitiful. But after adulthood, she recreated the actions of the past, that mom did to her. She locked both Alice and her mother to raise, to control everything. And Michael was cheating. And his mistress, Alice, also made people unable to love. Compared to them, Michael's wife, and children were much more pitiful. The movie is over here. Thank you for watching the movie. Next time I will bring very interesting movies. See you in the next video. Bye bye.